Introducing my shelf of shame. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Table Scraps. I'm Ben Mandelker, and today I am talking about my shelf of shame. And to help me discuss this very important topic, I have brought a very dear friend who knows something about this. Please welcome my good friend, Arkwright. Hi, Arkwright. Welcome. It's great to see you too. And how was your trip to Mongolia? Flight was canceled. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, but when you do get to go, I hope you sent many photos. We all can't wait to see it. Okay, great. So Arkwright is here because I have played Arkwright many times, but it is very difficult to get to the table. And in some worlds, it could even be a shelf of shame game. A shelf of shame game is a game that sits on your shelf and you never play it. It has never even gotten out of the shrink, or maybe it's gotten out of the shrink wrap, but you've never actually gotten it to the table. Or maybe you got it to the table and you took out all the pieces and you learned the rules, and then someone said, actually, can we play something else? And those people should rot in hell, because now the game sits here, never been played, and they have ruined all of our lives. I think we can all agree with this. Some people call this the shelf of opportunity, which is a really lovely way of rebranding it. I am going to say it's the shelf of shame, because I feel shame. I have spent money on these games. I put my own money into these games. I bought them. I had them arrive here. I went to the UPS store. I waited in line. I fetched them from the nice lady who works there. I brought them home and I opened them up, and now they have sat here. I feel terrible. I feel the shame. So yes, I could say it's a shelf of opportunity, but I actually feel like that's disrespectful to the actual games themselves. I feel like the games are sitting here saying, I don't want you to say I'm an opportunity. I want you to feel shame, because I'm sitting here and I could have been in someone else's house and someone could have been playing me. So I have many games on the shelf of shame. It is shameful. It is literally shameful. I never say I have so many opportunities, because guess what? The games that have been played are also opportunities. I have many titles. This is just a small sampling because we can't do 1 million games per episode. And also this means that I can do more Shelf of Shame episodes, which is really cool. I can make it like a little series, which should be fun. And by the way, if you want to know when the next Shelf of Shame episode happens, or any other episode happens, be sure to like and subscribe to this channel. There's a subscribe button down below on your YouTube. And if you're not on the YouTube app, then, go to it or do whatever you do. That's just the way YouTube works. It means a lot to me if you subscribe. Also, if you like, and also if you leave comments, if you just engage with this video, then I will feel better. Like, don't let me be a shelf of shame opportunity for you. Don't let this be a video of shame. Although I would say it's been pretty shameful, or some would say maybe even shameless. Anyway, let's get into it. What are some shelf of shame games? Arkwright, do you have any picks? No, well, that's really too bad. Well, I'll let you think about it a little bit longer. My first shelf of shame game, this is actually a newer game. I think it's maybe 2 years old, and it's a small game. This is actually one of the most shameful shame games I have, because this is a game that should be super easy to get to the table. It's a 2-player game. It's a light game. It is Sky Team Prepare for Landing. A lot of people just call it Sky Team, but they don't realize there's a subtitle that says Prepare for Landing. This is designed by Luc Ramond, a big hyped game. This game came out about 2 years ago or so. I don't know, maybe 3. Who's counting? By the time you see this, it could be 10 years ago. And it's a cooperative game where you and your friend are trying to land a plane. It's a cooperative game. And as soon as I heard about this game, I knew I had to have it. I was like, I need to get this. It's not that I'm like an aviation buff or whatever. It's more just like the idea of this game. The concept is so strong. What a brilliant idea. You and your friend are flying a plane. There's inherent stakes to this game. Like, you already know what could happen. There's already built-in stress. You've perhaps even imagined what would happen if you were flying a plane. I love the idea of this. It's a campaign game. There's multiple, not campaign game, but there's multiple scenarios that you can sort of ascend through. But somehow I haven't played this because I got my copy really early and then I couldn't find anyone to play it with. My friends didn't want to play it with me. I'm not putting them on blast. I'm just giving them a massive guilt trip that they chose not to play this with me. Actually, no, my friends are great. The real issue is that everyone sort of got this game and then everyone played it. And for whatever reason, I was either like somewhere else or I was traveling or whatever. But it was one of those situations where everyone played it, got their fill, and moved on in life. And then I sat here with this game empty. But the reason why I'm starting with this one is because this is a newer game and it's a hyped game and it really should have been played by now. And it hasn't been. I know I'll get to the table. In fact, I'm going to fast track it if I can mix plane and train metaphors. So I'm really excited for this one, Sky Team. It's supposed to be great. Everyone loves it. I'm ready. I'm ready to fly my plane and land it safely. Sky Team, I'm going to go put you over next to Arkwright because Arkwright missed his flight to Mongolia. And now here comes the next game. It is 1655 Habeas Papam. Habeas Papam. I did actually take Latin at one time in my life, so I should know how to pronounce that better. This game, here's the story behind it. This game, I think, came out in like 2013 or 14. I don't know. 2011. This is a 2011 game. Here's the story behind it. There is a game store right by NYU in New York City. I think it's called, I don't remember what it's called, but there's a game store. I walked in, they have lots of people playing games, there's board games everywhere, but they also sell games. And I got swept up in the excitement of being near board games and I wanted to buy a game. And I told the person there, I said, hey, I love games. What's a good game you recommend? And he said, oh, here's a game that's so tense and so wonderful. Every time I play it, like we just have the best time. It's so, so great. You have to buy it. And I thought, this is perfect. It costs about like $20 or $30. I could put it in my luggage, use my carry-on easily, fly back to Los Angeles. So I got it. I also felt like, oh, isn't this fun? It was a recommendation. It's an obscure game. I never heard of it before. You know, it's kind of like this whole story we tell ourselves of like what walking into a game store would be like. You find a hidden gem. Well, I have no idea if this is a hidden gem or not because I haven't played it. And by the way, this all happened around 2017 or 18. So we're going on 7 to 8 years of me sitting with this tiny game going unplayed in my collection. So the concept of the game is that it's time to choose a new pope. And it's basically, I believe this is just a big auction game. Like you have these different diamonds behind a player shield and you're bidding on different, like a display of cards comes out. Everyone's bidding on different things. And first place gets this card, second place gets this card in terms of the bids. Something like that. And all these different cards do different things. And I think there's some set collection. There's a this, there's a that. You're collecting jewels. The rules, I remember reading the rules on the train that night. And the rules were not great. And there's really virtually no support for this game on BGG. It did not make any impact whatsoever on the board gaming community. The forums are pretty dusty and empty. Maybe that means it's a terrible game, or maybe it means it's a hidden gem. But no matter what it is, it's still on the shelf of shame. I need to play this game, and I hope to get to play it soon, very soon. So that is 1655. Oh, I'm sorry. I said Habeas. It's Habemus Papam. Habemus Papam. 1655 Habemus Papam by Christopher Bauer. Arkwright, do you want another friend? Here comes another friend. You have 2 pilots, and now you're going to have a Vatican council. Well, if you've been watching Table Scraps for actually just a little bit of time, you may know that I love an 18xx game. And if you don't know what an 18xx game is, or you're heard of it or mildly curious, be sure to check out my video where I talk about 18xx games and demystifying them and why you should love them and embrace them despite anything you've heard. And if you still want to know how to actually even play an 18xx game or what it's all about, be sure to watch the short 2.5 minute video I made showing how to play an 18xx game. You should definitely watch it because I spent a lot of time animating it and that was a lot of work. Anyway, I love 18xx games, but they're very difficult to get to the table. And as a result, I think any 18xx collector will find that they have several 18xx games on their shelf of shame. The one that I want to profile of the several that I have is one called 18 Cuba. 18 Cuba was designed by Leonard Orgler, who designs many 18xx games, and his designs tend to be on the funky side. One of his most famous ones is 1880 China, which turns a lot of things on their head. 18 Mag, which takes place in Hungary, which really turns the 18xx genre inside out. I was extremely intrigued in 18 Cuba. The reason why is because it's an 18xx game that also involves pick up and deliver features. So you can get sugar. I guess you can have like what's the word? Harvest sugar, maybe refined sugar, and then trains can pick it up and send them to ports, etc. And that was intriguing to me because I love pick up and deliver games. I just love logistics in board gaming. I don't know why. I'm not like a logistics person necessarily, but in board gaming, it really scratches my itch. So this one has some pick up and deliver, but then when I got the game, I discovered there's actually so many other interesting features in it. Not only is there pick up and deliver, there's this nationalizing the rail. There's a national rail where you have to pay fees to the government in order to go through certain areas. There's ways you can get machines to improve things. You can get special trains. There's actually a lot of stuff in here that's funky and different, and it all seems greatly appealing to me, but I haven't really been able to play it. I have not gotten this one to the table. It's really, really sad. I mean, anytime an 18xx gets to the table, I'm always thrilled, and I've been thrilled with every 18xx game that's made it, but this one I really, really want to play. Like, I want to play this one so badly. Like, for several years, it's been one of the games I've been wanting to play the most. I'm so excited to see how this all works out. You know, the designer always takes risks, and I think they often pay out. Sometimes they don't, but I think this one just seems great. And I also love the map of Cuba. It's a narrow map, which means there'll be lots of congestion, which means there'll be lots of jockeying for space. Look how I'm cradling the game. Can't you see how much I want to play it? I am excited beyond words to play 18 Cuba, and I hope it comes off my shelf of shame very, very soon. Arkwright, are you ready for another friend from Cuba? Here you go, Arkwright. Go enjoy. Arkwright, how do you feel sitting in a chair with several games of shame, knowing that you are not a game of shame? Does it make you feel lesser than, or do you feel like a den mother welcoming everyone in? Time for another relatively recent game. This one is only a few years old, maybe 2 years old or so. It is Lacrimosa, a game about Mozart. I actually knew very little about this game. Some of my friends played it. They really liked it a lot. My friend Candace had a copy that she had played. It wasn't totally her jam, so she sold it to me. And I was like, sweet, Lacrimosa. I think this is one that will really appeal to some of my non-gamer friends. I think Mozart feels like a fun theme. I have a lot of friends who play board games with me but are not interested in space themes. They're not interested in fantasy or dwarves or sci-fi or any of the weird stuff that we all like in board games. So sometimes real world or historical things like this are more appealing. So Lacrimosa, which is a game by Gerard Asensi and Ferran Renalius, is a game about, I think, finishing Mozart's final composition. So really just based on theme alone. And by the way, I also love classical music, and I think this is a really cool theme. And I'm always excited by any theme that does try something a little different, because as much as I will play the type of games that I mentioned before with theme, I'm almost always going to gravitate towards something that sort of speaks to a little bit more of my real world experiences. And of course, in the real world, I am not a composer in the 17th century, but I like Mozart. Anyway, this game looks super cool. A lot of people liked it. A lot of people in my friend group really liked it. But I kind of missed the wave on this one. And so I thought I was going to make a new wave. I thought I was going to resuscitate the wave. I didn't. And so I myself does Lacrimosa mean crying or tears? I think it does. I have Lacrimosa. I have Lacrimosa of the heart at the moment. So So I'm really excited to get this one played. Really looking forward to this one. I would say of the Shelf of Shame games, this is probably the lowest priority one, but it's definitely one that I wanna get to the table. So Lacrimosa. Ooh. And insert Mozart cue right here. Okay, to the chair, Lacrimosa, to the chair. We are at our second to last title in my Shelf of Shame exploration. This one, Gugong. Now, there's a twist to this one. I have played Gugong, I'm not going to say several times, I think maybe 3 times. Enough that I really enjoyed it. Enough that I went and bought the expansion. Let's look, what's it called? The expansion, okay, Panjun. I went and got this expansion. I really enjoyed the base game quite a bit. I always felt like there was a little like some sort of X factor missing with Gugong, which by the way has a wonderful pedigree designer, Andreas Stedding, who also designed Hansa Teutonica, one of the greatest board games of all time, one of my all-time favorites. It might be a top 10. I haven't really looked at my top 10 in a while. Gugong is a super fun game. And from one issue that I didn't have, but friends of mine have, is that people say it feels too much like mini games. This is like a thing in board gaming where people complain that like, oh my God, there's mini games in the game. Like there's several little games and they're all kind of connected, but people feel like they're not connected. And that really bothers people for some reason. I've heard many reasons why, and I have yet to really still truly understand why mini games bother people so much. I mean, it's like games. Don't we like games? Why wouldn't we like mini games? Anyway, from what I hear, the expansion does some great things for interaction. I think the issue with mini games for several people is that there's an element that you're just sort of like tinkering in different areas of the board and it's discordant. Maybe it actually is not very interactive. So either way, the expansion increases interaction. It also sort of makes the central mechanic in the game where you have to go up a staircase. If you don't make it to the top by the end of the game, you are not eligible to win. It makes that staircase more interesting. It does all sorts of cool stuff. The expansion got really, really strong reviews when it came out. I think that was pre-pandemic, so prior to 2020. I got it, and I have yet to play with the expansion. It is so sad. I am very excited to try the expansion, try this game. Every time I play this game, I'm always like, this game is so good. Why do I not play it more? I need to play it more, especially now that I've got this cool Panjun element to it. Yeah, great reviews on it, and I'm looking forward. I love an expansion that makes a great game even greater, especially if it can kind of give it that little X factor that makes me want to play Gugong even more. But yeah, and honestly, base game Gugong, I haven't played in a long time either. So expansion is Shelf of Shame, and Gugong is sort of in that, what do we call the Shelf of Shame for games that we've actually played? It's like the Shelf of Neglect. So Neglect and Shame all in one cute box. And guess what? It's going to go over to the chair with Arkwright. Arkwright, are you ready for some Gugong? Well, I'm down to the last game that I would like to profile. This is my Shamiest shame of the entire Shelf of Shame. I have had this one on my Shelf of Shame. It might be coming on 10 years. Like, I feel incredible shame about this one. Super shame. Let's not delay this any longer. My Shamiest shame game of all shame time on my Shelf of Shame is Signorie. Signori or Signorie? I don't know how to pronounce it. I think it's Signorie. Signorie! This is from the dearly departed game company, What's Your Game, which went out with a blaze of shame itself in 2020 when the world shut down and everything imploded for them. It's actually quite sad. But this game came out during kind of like their golden period. They had this magnificent stretch of games that included Nippon, this one, Railroad Revolution, Railroad Evolution, Madeira. They were just killing it. They just were doing such great work. It's a shame. It's a shame that company went down. It's Zhangguo. Don't want to forget Zhangguo. Anyway, this game I bought really because it got great reviews when it came out, I should say. The designer is Andrea Chiaravesio and Pierluca Zizi. This designer did something so unexpected. There's something so unexpected on their resume. Wait, I have to look it up. I'm looking it up live on the show. Don't worry, there'll be an edit. Movie magic will get right to the point here. I found it. This is the same designer as Marvel United. What? I knew it was something random like that. A Dusty Euro game and then Marvel United. Of course. This game, I'm getting dust on my fingers right now from this box. That's how long it's been on the shelf of shame. Okay, here is the story with this. This is a game, families in Europe, in Italy, trying to grow and have prestige, and you can have sons and daughters, and the sons and daughters marry each other, and you want to have like strategic marriages, yada, 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 all that like Renaissance style, crap that we love. I actually always love in a board game where your meeples can have children and marry other meeples and all that fun stuff. And yes, it's heteronormative, but that's okay. My little gay self is okay with that because I just think it's fun to marry meeples. Side note, I also like Meeple Death. Shout out to Village, one of my all-time favorite games where meeples live and die. Anyway, this game, the shtick of this game is it's one of those games where, you know what? Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to look in the rules. That's how long this has been a Shelf of Shame game because I don't even remember the shtick of it. Okay, I refreshed very quickly. Here's the shtick of the game, take two. Basically, you have different actions on your board and they cost different things. So you may have like a level 6 action, and if you take a 2 die, you're gonna have to pay 4 coins because you always have to pay the difference between the die value and the action. So you want high number dice because that way it's cheaper for you to actually perform the actions. But there is like a threshold at the end of the round. If the total dice values that you've used exceeds a certain number, you're not going to get a super important reward. And there's obviously more stuff to that. It's a really, really cool idea, and this game got really strong reviews. Here's why I think I had a hard time getting it to the table back during its peak. When it came out, there was a lot of talk that you want to play this at 4 players. That's how you get the best experience out of it, because people said it didn't scale well at 3 and at 2. There was also a lot of discussion that maybe the game was around too long. Maybe you got to play with this variant. Maybe you can play with that variant. It was almost like it needed like one more pass at the rules, like a little tweak, something like that. It was enough that every time it came out, I was like, what was the variant I was supposed to use again? Or do we have 4 people? It never got to the table as a result. And it's a shame because it seems like a great game. It's actually available on Board Game Arena. I don't know if I've played it on there, and does that count? If I played it on Board Game Arena, does it count? I'm not sure, but it's one I would love to play. It seems like a real evergreen kind of concept. I think it would be great. I'm sure we could get 4 people together. I hope I can. I don't know. I think this is the one that has been on my shelf of shame the longest, and it is the one that probably should be next to hit the table. If Sky Team comes next, that's okay, because that's a 2-player game. But this one, despite its foibles, I really want to play it. Also, maybe it might be a good time to come out with like a second edition of this, much like they did with Zhangguo, and fix some of those elements that people had reservations about. I don't know. But either way, Signorie, however it's pronounced, this is my most shamey shame game on my shelf of shame, and I can't wait to play it, hopefully very, very soon. To the chair! Well, Arkwright, you're there amongst all the shame games. You know what, I'm going to make you an honorary game of shame as well, Arkwright, because I haven't played you in a while, and I would love to get you to the table too. Once again, everyone, thank you so much for watching my small tour of some of my Shelf of Shame games. Be sure to subscribe, be sure to like, be sure to share this with people, leave a comment, any sort of comment. I'll probably respond to it because I've got nothing better to do other than try to play my games of shame. Appreciate you all so much. And I am looking forward to coming back with a new episode very, very soon. Bye.